in our world, when a quarterback or a coach speaks, we usually ascribe they never say anything just off the cuff. It's always a message. It's always a plan. There's always a plan. Is it possible Sean Payton just got pissed off before he talked to Jarrett Bell about something and just popped off? Or what's your 2 cents on why Sean Payton said what he said that puts the Jets' visit to Denver now up on a pedestal on a marquee that it wasn't on prior to last week? What do you got for me there?
I've obviously been in these situations before where people have said explosive stuff to me, and I always try to be judicious about, like, all right, like, because I view all my relationships with coaches, players, front office people as 30-year relationships, which I think is how you should manage any of your relationships. But, I always try to kind of take the context of what they were saying into account. And, I know, because I know things look a certain way based on the medium they're presented in. Like, if it's on a podcast, that's one thing versus it being print. I say that because I do think, this feels to me like, Sean getting himself going a little bit and wanting to make a point, but going over the top and making that point, and that's where maybe the mistake was, like, where maybe it's a little bit of that, like Parcells thing, where you don't want to sit there and tell Russell Wilson how great he is, but you do want to send a message that you have his back.
Yes.
And so you do that by saying he had tough circumstances last year. Now, how far do you go in saying he had tough circumstances last year? You went way too far in this case. And, I think Nathaniel Hackett, for my 2 cents, I'm not saying he was perfect last year. I think he's taken way too much blame for what's happened last year. I think he's been scapegoated for last year. I think it's terrible that he got put in this position for no reason again, because he's just trying to move on.
Yeah.
But it does feel to me like Sean was trying to make a point, and it's in there somewhere, but he went way, way, way too far in what he did. And quite frankly, I mean, I've talked to, coaches, on my trip and through the league over the last few days that, we're very clear that this broke a code that they all have between each other.
Which is coaches don't criticize coaching jobs of coaches that they've replaced, is what you're saying.
It's not only that. It's just, I mean, I think it's more, there's a line you don't cross. You know what I mean? Like, and it does feel like, I mean, and look, like, guys who've coached with Nathaniel are going to be a little bit more protective of him and a little angrier in this spot.
Sure.
But, I think that there's criticism, right? Like, and then there's something like, even if like Sean Payton had said this on Fox, I don't think it would have gone over well. You know what I mean? Like, I think even that way, like, and that's like what you always hear, like, when these guys get in the TV, are they going to be able to criticize? Because it's like, if you want to give it back in, maybe there are some lines you can't cross. Right. I think this is like that, right? Like, we're like, this would have been over the line on Fox, let alone doing it while you're back in the coaching fraternity.
Well, I guess he wouldn't have had the.
And I do think he's, like, legitimately apologetic.
No, I get that sense too. But I don't know if he'd be caping for Russ on Fox in the way that obviously he has a desire to right now, being attached.
Right.
But, I mean,
No
Aaron Rodgers basically saying that he's just, gilding the lily for an inevitable fall, not to have his fingerprints on it.
Which is, I think,
is what
some people. I will say, he's not the only person
that feels that
I've
way.
Heard that, and I would say not the only person, even in the Jets building, I've heard that received those words that way, that thought, like, he's setting himself up so his hands will be clean if things go wrong. I'm not saying that's right, but I'm saying that's not.
Yeah, I get it.
Rodgers isn't the only one who has that theory.
That one just didn't ring well. It didn't land with me in that same way, because if he doesn't fix it, he's been brought in to fix it. So that's why he got all that money. That's why the Walmart family didn't take potential initial no's for an answer. You know what I mean? Like, whatever happened, he's been brought in to fix it, all of it. And so we'll see. Man, week 5, that is going to be, as the kids say, lit. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.